Ancient Egypt gave the world pyramids, gods, and gold, but its palace corridors hid something darker than any tomb. The men and women closest to power turned on each other again and again. Sons erased mothers from history. Wives poisoned kings in their own beds. Priests abandoned the pharaoh they once worshipped as a living god. Every secret has a price, and in Egypt that price was almost always paid in blood. These are the 10 most brutal betrayals in ancient Egyptian history. Number 10. Ptolemy XIII and the beheading of Pompey. When Cleopatra shared the throne with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII, the boy king wanted her gone completely. His chance came when the Roman general Pompey the Great fled to Egypt for shelter after losing a civil war to Julius Caesar. Ptolemy advisors saw a chance to win favor with the coming victor. They lured Pompey ashore with false promises of safety, then cut him down on the beach as his wife watched from a nearby ship. Ptolemy sent Pompey's severed head to Caesar as a gift, expecting gratitude. Instead, Caesar wept and turned his fury on the boy who thought murder was diplomacy. Within months, Ptolemy was dead, drowned fleeing his own collapsing army, and Cleopatra sat on the throne beside the very man his betrayal was meant to impress. Number 9. Thutmose III, erasing Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut ruled Egypt as a full pharaoh for over 20 years. One of the most successful rulers the kingdom ever produced. She built temples, expanded trade routes, and kept the throne warm for her stepson Thutmose III while he grew into a man. When she died, Thutmose finally took full power, and decades later he ordered something startling. Her statues were smashed, her name chiseled from monuments, and her image replaced with male pharaohs who came before her. Historians once assumed jealousy drove the erasure, but many now believe it was calculated politics, an attempt to make royal succession look unbroken by a woman ruler. Whatever the reason, Hatshepsut nearly vanished from history, rediscovered only when archaeologists pieced her shattered statues back together centuries later. Number 8. The priests who abandoned Akhenaten. Pharaoh Akhenaten tried to remake Egypt overnight, banning the old gods and forcing worship of a single sun disk called the Aten. He built a new capital in the desert and stripped the powerful priesthood of Amun of their wealth and influence. The priests complied while he lived, but the moment he died, they moved fast. His new religion was dismantled, his capital abandoned to the sand, and his name struck from the official list of kings. His own son, later known as Tutankhamun, was pressured to reverse everything his father built and restore the old gods. The betrayal was silent and patient, carried out with erasure rather than knives, proving the priesthood could outlast any pharaoh who crossed them. Number 7. The harem conspiracy against Rameses III. Rameses III believed his palace was safe, but one of his own wives, Queen Tai, had other plans for her son. She wanted her boy Pentuer on the throne instead of the rightful heir. So she organized a conspiracy involving palace officials, harem women, and a general. Together they tried to kill the pharaoh through poison and dark magic before finishing the job during a festival. Modern forensic study of his mummy confirmed his throat had been cut so deeply it nearly severed his spine. Trial records show dozens of conspirators executed or forced to end their own lives. The plot failed, and Pentuer was likely forced to end his life once the conspiracy collapsed. Number 6. The vanishing of Nefertiti. Queen Nefertiti stood beside Akhenaten as one of the most powerful women in Egyptian history, appearing in art with almost equal stature to the pharaoh himself. Then, with no clear explanation, she disappears from inscriptions in the final years of his reign. No tomb bearing her name has ever been confirmed. Some historians believe she died. Others argue she was politically sidelined by rivals at court, or that she secretly ruled under a different name. The uncertainty itself suggests betrayal, a queen remembered as powerful, yet erased thoroughly enough that even her death remains a mystery. Number 5. Seti II and the rival pharaoh. When Seti II inherited the throne, a rival named Amenmesse rose up and seized control of Upper Egypt, splitting the kingdom in a direct challenge to his rule. Whether Amenmesse was a jealous relative or an ambitious official remains debated, but the betrayal fractured Egypt for years. Monuments were vandalized as each ruler tried to erase the other from memory. Seti eventually reclaimed full control, and inscriptions from his reign show a deliberate effort to destroy every trace of his rival ever holding power. The episode reveals how fragile royal authority became once a family member decided loyalty was optional. Number 4. Horemheb and the End of a Dynasty. Horemheb began as a loyal military commander serving the boy king Tutankhamun and his successor Ai. But when Ai died, Horemheb moved quickly to seize the throne, sidelining the family that had employed him for years. Once in power, he launched a campaign to erase Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and their entire line from official king lists, treating the era as if it never happened. Temples were rebuilt, names were chiseled away, and an entire royal family was written out of history by the very general who once served them. It was betrayal on a national scale, a rewriting of memory to protect the legitimacy of a new ruling house. Number 3. The assassination of Amenemhat I. According to a text known as the Instructions of Amenemhat, the pharaoh was attacked in his own bedroom by guards sworn to protect him, likely orchestrated by figures within his own court while his son was away on campaign. He survived just long enough, according to legend, to warn his heir never to trust anyone completely, not even those closest to the throne. The plot reportedly involved harem officials again, echoing the pattern that would recur centuries later with Ramesses III. It set a chilling precedent. The greatest threat to a pharaoh rarely came from foreign armies, but from the people sleeping down the hall. Number 2. Cleopatra and the betrayal of her own sister Arsinoe. Cleopatra fought a long war against her siblings for the throne, and one of her most ruthless moves targeted her younger sister Arsinoe, who had positioned herself as a rival queen during Rome's civil wars. After Arsinoe was captured and paraded through Rome in chains, Cleopatra later pressured Mark Antony to have her sister executed on the steps of a temple where she had sought sanctuary. It was a killing driven purely by political survival, a queen eliminating her own blood so no rival claim to her throne could resurface. The betrayal shocked even hardened Roman observers who saw it as proof of how far Egyptian royal politics would go to secure power. Number 1. The poisoning suspicions around Cleopatra. Own father. Ptolemy XII, Cleopatra's father, secured his throne only after his own family turned against him, including a daughter who briefly seized power while he fled into exile. When he returned with Roman military backing, he had that daughter, Berenice, executed to reclaim the throne he felt was his. It was a pattern that defined the entire Ptolemaic dynasty, parents and children locked in cycles of exile, betrayal, and execution across generations. By the time Cleopatra came to power, betrayal was not an exception in her family, it was tradition. Every sibling was a threat, every ally was temporary, and every secret carried a price. Every secret has a price.